Number 6 says use Pascal's triangle to expand the expression x plus 3 to the fourth. Now, before we do any expansion, we probably should check out the Pascal's triangle. Now, you will be given that on a test, but just in case you don't remember it, we start off with a 1 up top. The second row is 1, 1. Then we start adding terms diagonally. So we add the 1 and the 1 to get the 2. 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. And you'll be given up to row 5, I believe, but we don't need to go any further than this. So I'm going to do this two different ways. When it's x to the fourth, that means we're looking at the fourth row. Remember that first row I call row 0. This fourth row is the one that's 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So I'm going to do this in the column version first. So I'm going to take those numbers, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. Those are coefficients that we're going to have to multiply our terms by. Now, if you remember when we first set this up, we had an A and we had a B. The A terms we put below our, like we'll start over here. Sorry, not using that. We'll start over here, and we're going to use that. We're going to start with our highest exponent, so x to the fourth. The next one will be x to the third, and then you just keep counting down. X squared, x to the first, and x to the 0. Sorry, thinking ahead. Our B term, in this case 3, we'll start with 3 to the 0, then 3 to the first, 3 squared, 3 to the third, and 3 to the fourth. Now before we do any multiplying of our terms here, which we'll do down below, let's see if we can simplify any of this stuff. So remember, anything to the 0 is just equal to 1. So 3 to the 0 is equal to 1, also x to the 0 is equal, x to the 0 is equal to 1. See if there's any other terms we can simplify. 3 to the first is 3, 3 squared is 9, 3 to the third is 27, and 3 to the fourth is 81. Now we're going to go through and multiply our columns, so kind of separating these out. Our first column, we're going to multiply each thing in that column, each part of, or each consecutive row. So 1 times x to the fourth times 1, that just gives us x to the fourth. Our next one, we have 4 times x to the third times 3, which gives us 12x to the third. The next column, 6 times x to the second times 3 to the second, or 6 times 9, which gives us plus 54x squared. Next column, 4 times 1, or sorry, times x to the first times 27 gives us 108x. And our last column, 1 times 81, that just gives us 81. And that's it. That's kind of nicer than having to do x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. I think I said that right. Now, I'm going to actually erase this a second and go through a slightly different method, which is really kind of the same drill. I'm just kind of organizing it differently. So when I do this, I kind of list out my coefficients. So 1, I'm going to leave some good spaces here. 1, 4, 6, 4, and 1. And I'm going to put plus signs in between all these, right next to our coefficients. Where'd my other one? There we go. Now for the A term, I just kind of start listing them out right next to each other instead of vertically. This one I'm doing horizontally. So our A terms, which is our x, we start off with x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and x to the 0. Then we take our B terms and start with our exponent of 0. So 3 to the 0, 3 to the first, 3 squared, 3 to the third, and zoom too far over. And 3 to the fourth. I'm going to kind of scrunch some of these together a little more so I have a little more space to work. Goodness gracious, sorry. Sorry, I ran out of room. So going through and cleaning up those terms, again, every time we see something to the 0 power, that's just 1. So the first one is 1 times x to the fourth times 1, so that's just x to the fourth. The next group is 4 times x to the third times 3, or 12x to the third. Next group, 6 times x to the second times 3 squared, which is, as we said earlier, 9. So 6 times 9 is 54x squared. Next group, 4 times x to the first times 3 to the third, or times 27. So 4 times 27 is 108, so we got 108x. And the last group, we said 3 to the fourth earlier was 81, so 1 times x to the 0 is 1. So 1 times 81 gives us just, goodness gracious, sorry, 81. Whichever method works better for you, go for it. I do it horizontally typically. Sometimes you like to set it up vertically. Whatever method works best.